Hey, it's Luke here from LT Gaming, and today we're not doing the usual quickfire 20 games in 15 minutes kind of list. This one's a bit more focused. I picked 5 big wargames that are either about to land, or they are set to make serious progress very soon. The kind of games that could properly shape the conversation in 2026 around wargames if they do well. And if you're here for smart tactical play, proper historical flavour and games that actually reward good decision making, tap that like button. It helps the channel and it helps this video reach more fellow wargamers. And both me and Tom greatly appreciate it. Now, do leave your favourite wargames of 2026 in the comments below. I'm going to do much bigger lists this year on all of this stuff, so don't worry, more to come. This is just a focused look. Let's jump into it. Strategos basically takes the best part of Total War and makes it the entire game. Now I want to give a shout out here. We broke this game first among YouTubers, and then most of them pretended, oh, we found this game, when look, they probably saw our video. But Pixelated Apollo actually showed our channel and shouted out in his video that we had found it, so props to him. Not enough of this sort of behaviour goes on YouTube, so I really appreciated that. But Strategos has big ancient battles with way more emphasis on command and control than click spam micro, and that's something I genuinely welcome in my RTS style games. You're moving formations, managing morale shocks, dealing with fog of war, and watching lines buckle and cascade when something goes wrong. The big hook for me is that courier orders layer. You're not just doing things, you're communicating everything, and you're dependent on how that system works. You've got to position those generals, time your commitments, and make decisions that feel more like you're commanding an army than dragging units around a sandbox, and that feels pretty good. It takes a little bit of time to get your head around, but once it clicks, you realise you can't go back to just normal RTS style battles in this format. The setting is an absolute chef's kiss if you're into antiquity. It spans a huge chunk of the classical era, and the scale is properly ambitious with 120 plus factions and over 250 units. And the reason I keep describing it as a real-time field of glory is because it's got that tabletop-ish kind of authenticity. It's about lines, cohesion, disorder, flanks and momentum, not hero units doing WWE style moves. If you love the time period and you want your battles that reward patience and positioning, and you just want to feel like Alexander, then this is honestly an awesome game to play. But if we're looking at realistic expectations, this is early access and it's designed to be that. The current plan is around 12 months in early access, and they're still talking about refining the map-based campaign and expanding scenarios and units over time. That also means if you're coming in expecting a full-fat grand campaign layer like classic Total War, you better temper those expectations. The campaign layer at the moment consists of battles linked much like they are in Field of Glory, so your focus really should be on the tactical battles if you want to get enjoyment from this one. The only other practical concern I have is performance. In bigger classes, you might need to dial the settings down a bit and be a bit patient during early access. But if you can live with those trade-offs, this could be one of those games where the battles alone carry the whole thing, and honestly, I'm very up for that. This one is also coming on the 20th of January, so you don't have long to wait. It's going to be one of the better and bigger wargames of the year. War in Spain 1936-39 is one of those proper systems games, land, sea and air, all living in the same rule set, on a big hex mat with a crazy level of detail under the hood. Now, of all the games on this list, I have the least hands-on experience with this one, so I'm going off research alone, and my own thoughts. It's built on a new land, sea, air engine inspired by War in the Pacific Admirals edition, but with a big focus on making ground operations and logistics feel more modern. The Spanish Civil War is such a brilliant setting for this style because it's basically the dress rehearsal for World War II. You've got early armour, evolving air power, naval supply pressure, and messy, uneven forces that don't behave like clean, balanced factions. The game leans hard into immersion too, with a 5 nautical miles per hex and an order of battle that goes right down to small unit levels and individual equipment detail. Plus, you're not going to be stuck with one major grand campaign. It's launching with 9 scenarios, including a full grand campaign. Let's be brutal here, this is very much an expert level grognard experience. Turn-based, one-day turns, deep logistics, and the kind of interface you'll either love or bounce off in 10 minutes. Though I suspect us wargamers won't have a problem with it. Some of the UIs I have to deal with in wargames, we've got to get better in that department. Or is that part of the charm of wargames? Let me know in the comments below. Don't come into this one expecting a quick pick up and play flow. This looks like the sort of game you learn over a few sessions. Then once you get it, like I did with War in the East 2, it becomes dangerously addictive. And there are a lot of good niche wargame channels out there which will teach you to play these games, so I highly recommend checking those out. My final verdict on this one: if you love operational planning and you want Spain done with serious detail, this could be a bit of a monster in the best way. Someone in the Discord also told me it could be part of a much bigger set of titles on the way, which is an interesting angle and quite exciting. In Battleplan, you're basically the general, and it's taken literally. Instead of babysitting individual squads, you're sketching intent onto the map. You draw the line, draw the arrow, set the shape of the operation, then you watch your officers and units try to execute it with a bit of autonomy, which to me is way more interesting than pure APM micro. And because the game's built around divisions with a proper chain of command, HQs, regiments, battalions, companies, it's got that sense you're conducting a whole formation, not just dragging counters around. To me, the drawing plans layer isn't just a gimmick either. They're explicitly leaning into multi-step operations, defense in depth, counterattacks, plan withdrawals, prep bombardments, and splitting forces to grab multiple objectives. All of this combines for a really immersive experience when I got to play it. Once you scale this up, you've got battles that can run a week to a month with time control so you can pause or fast forward, plus real geographic data shaping the battlefield. With roads, towns, forests and elevations, so positioning actually matters, which I think is very important in a wargame. Two things to keep in mind here though. One, visually it's not going to be that super gritty counter aesthetic, and if you're a serious map encounters wargamer, this style might feel a bit too cartoony even if the simulation underneath is quite hardcore. And secondly, the logistics and supply lines will punish you. It's a huge part of the pit, so it's probably less quick match and more sit down, plan, execute and then review what went wrong. If you're up for that, the draw on map control scheme is genuinely one of the freshest ideas I've seen in this type of game in a while. Just a quick interlude to say most of you who watch the channel are not subscribed, so make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button because it helps smaller channels like us grow really quickly, and both me and Tom really appreciate it. Carthage, Bellum, Punicum is basically a love letter to the Second Punic War. I almost said Pubic War then, that would not be a game I want to play. But anyway, getting back on track, this has a proper wargame brain underneath it. You're not just throwing units into a blender, you're commanding armies with real-time tactics and worrying about the stuff that actually wins wars. Supply lines, positioning, timing and formation fighting. I've been talking to the developer on this one and I don't think it's too far away, though I'm not going to pressure him on that one, obviously development takes time. But it does look like one of the more exciting titles coming this year in the wargame space. And the fact he's combining both that strategic and tactical layer is very exciting. It's a complaint of course we saw on Strategos, and I think people do like to combine both layers. I think although the presentation is quite basic, and remember basic doesn't always mean bad, the scale of this one is truly hooking me. They're promising battles where every soldier is individually rendered, which sounds absolutely crazy. And they're also clearly pushing historical authenticity hard. The devlogs have been showing off maps and campaign expansion work, like showing certain battle maps and expanding the Iberian campaign with new settlements and factions. It is marked for 2026, so I'm hopeful I'll be hands-on with this one sooner rather than later. But its ambition with real-time battles, supply systems, campaign scope and authenticity mean it's truly going to be a unique experience in this time period, and I know a lot of people are going to go nuts for this. My advice would be to wishlist this one. All the content you're seeing on screen in front of you is freshly recorded and never been seen before, so I appreciate getting my hands on that. If they can pull off that atmosphere and the tactical weight they're aiming for, it could be seriously a really awesome wargame and one I'm very excited about. My only concern here is it does have mobile roots, but it looks like the PC Steam version is going to be massively upgraded. Looking to get a feature done on this one soon, so bear with me. I should say that Task Force Admiral is a game I'm really looking forward to, but I've been playing it for quite some time. But I will say it's a game you should look very forward to. It's rare to see that wargame and sim hybrid where you're not playing a fleet like chess pieces, you're playing the problem of being a 1942 carrier commander. You're hunting the enemy, protecting your objectives and doing the whole Pacific War thing where most of the time you're making decisions with incomplete information. Until suddenly you spot the enemy and all hell breaks loose, or you spot them coming to attack your carriers and realise you've been outmaneuvered and outspotted. It's very much command at sea. You're managing task forces, launching strikes, juggling scouting, which is absolutely key by the way, which is why it's absolutely paramount to win the contact war before the first bomb even drops. The reason this one feels like a big deal is the presentation plus scale combination. It's really that kind of sea power but set in World War II Pacific. It's fully 3D and has some amazing presentation when you're looking at your fighters, carriers. I've taken some of the best screenshots with this one in some time. And it's got all that drama and tension like spotting reports, strike packages, and that timing and that constant where are they kind of tension. It is being positioned as the first entry in the series, but it's not anywhere near finished yet and it's going to be in early access, so I'm not sure what the long-term plans are or even the hope for a second title will be. There's been some criticism around this, people saying they want to play the Japanese, and honestly I think that's kind of warranted here, but it still doesn't take away that what's on offer is a wonderful simulation experience. At this time, the public demo is still live, though I'm not sure what the status of that will be leading up to release on the 27th. Yes, it's coming very soon, and I really think it's got the potential to be the sea power of 2026. Like I said, it is of course early access, and you have to have some of that buyer beware. Expect some rough edges and also some time to go into this one till it's anywhere near completion. It's also not the type of wargame you just pick up in 10 minutes and you're playing away. I watched a series of tutorials on YouTube, and once I actually understood the mechanics, it really does click. When you've learned how to spot the enemy, launch your strike packages, and kind of deal with the chaos of not knowing where everything is, then it does start to come together and make sense. You really have to be comfortable with chaos in this one. But if you want a modern cinematic carrier warfare game, this is the one this year.